Narduzzi, Bridge, and Colin Todd gets the start tonight. The midfield, Tyson, O'Brien, Norman, and Valentine, who you will see moving up to the forward line on many occasions during the night. And up front, Peter Ward and David Cross. The substitutes for Vancouver, Paul Nelson, Pierce O'Leary, and Chris Turner. Taking a look at the Chicago Sting, they'll use exactly the same lineup as they used to defeat the New York Cosmos.
Smith and Helder Diaz. And now Chicago's luckiest totem, Sam Cianis from the Billy Goat, and their goat. The Billy Goat is out to kick out the first ball. The Billy Goat kicked out the first ball in the playoffs in '81, and the Sting went on to win the soccer ball. The Billy Goat also kicked out the first ball in a Cup game this year, and of course the Cubs went on to win the Eastern Division. So Chicago's #1 good luck piece, the Billy Goat, is out kicking out the first ball, and the crowd loves it. In the first half, Vancouver will move from your screen left to right. Vancouver in white shirts, blue shorts, white hose, red numerals and trim. The Sting in black shirts, brand new yellow shorts and hose, white numerals and trim, moving right to left. The Sting bench saw Elvis Comrie, Bobby Meshbach, and Bob Rigby. Vince Morrow, who's done a very capable job throughout the season, will be blowing the whistle with his linesman Derek Harper and Helder Diaz, with Peter Terrell and the infamous D. Karatzik. We don't know his first name as the assessor.
Not very often the assessors get any credit.
We've got to thank Harlan Singh on another great graphic. The Sting will kick off. 2 45-minute running time halves. This is it. This is for all the marbles in the semifinals. Winner goes on to play Toronto. Interception. This is for all the marbles in the semifinals. Winner goes on to play Toronto. Interception by the Vancouver Whitecaps. Colin Todd, first division player, came over here in mid-season for England, goes to Franz Tyson, Dutch international. He signaled louder ahead, then changed his mind, put it right back in the circle.
First minute, Howard, excuse me, Sanino injured down on the far side of the field. He's gotten up. Tonight's weather, 50 degrees, and that's a kind way of putting it. The wind coming out of the northwest, 10 miles per hour, and of course those crosswinds. Sanino's virtually out of the game, though, here, Howard. He appears to be having some trouble with his right knee. That coming off the opening kickoff.
That's right. He is limping, and he is staying in the midfield. He isn't coming back as he normally does. Vancouver's attacking. Header. And the Vancouver Whitecaps have scored. The Chicago Sting defense playing it flat-footed, and a header into the box, beating Nagara into the near corner, and with less than a minute to go on, actually, in the first half, the Vancouver Whitecaps are on the board, and that's just what the Sting didn't want.
This never should have happened. Bob Lenarduzzi right there simply out-jumping Davey Houston. Davey giving away a few inches right there, but Lenarduzzi, normally a defender, playing in the midfield. O'Brien gave the service. It was deflected by a Chicago defender, and there you see the ball knotted in. Not a good first minute for Chicago. They fall a goal down and appear to be on the verge, perhaps, of losing their fine forward Sanino for the match.
So the Chicago Sting, having an advantage with 2 Vancouver forwards out of action, finds themselves down. And talking to the Vancouver broadcasters before this game started, they said, well, if the Sting gets the first goal, it's probably over. But if Vancouver can score the first goal, the way they're aligned with all those defenders, they just may well be able to protect that 1-goal lead, because they have that great goalkeeper in Paul Bradshaw. But this is just something that might take the starch out of the Sting. Now a disputed line call and a throw-in for Vancouver. They go to Bradshaw, 6'3", 190, is the biggest player out on the field. Boy, did Vancouver Lightning strike quickly. Bradshaw with the ball. It's a good time, I believe, to say a great big Chicago hello to our Canadian audience. We want to welcome all the folks throughout Canada viewing this game on TSN, the Sports Network. And right now, it's the Vancouver Whitecaps win the lead, 1-0. We have a long way to go. Vinitz trying to go to Rojas. Backheel pass didn't work. Vinitz steals it back. Here comes Karl Heinz to Rojas. Rojas in the box. Rojas looking for the left-footed cross. There's a shot over the bar.
Great chance for Chicago to get the equalizer there. Sanino just leaning back a little bit too much. Did not reach that ball in time, and the shot went going high over the bar. Good work, though, by Vinitz and Rojas. Especially Rojas down there in the corner who grabbed everybody's attention before feeding Sanino.
1-0. Vancouver leads. If you're just tuning in, that's right. We played less than 3 minutes. Whitecaps scored in less than a minute. Sting kicked off. Whitecaps got it back, brought it down, and Bob Lenarduzzi sailed high over little Davey Houston to push that ball beyond Victor Nagarin to the near side of the net. And now Houston up to the Magic Man Marhetic. Knocked away from him. Vince Morrow says play on, and it comes back to Lenarduzzi. Lenarduzzi, the real veteran of this Vancouver ball club, has played with Vancouver every year. He's the Iron Man. He's the only fellow here who was playing with Vancouver when the ball club first started.
has a lot of experience, and he's the captain, and he showed why just now. Whitecaps on the attack again. Glenn kicks it up in the air. Marhetic trying to circle under it. He goes up with Lenarduzzi. The taller Lenarduzzi wins it for Lauder. Lauder to Tyson, and here comes Vancouver. They bring it down to Lenarduzzi on the near side. And it's driven back, intercepted by Knight. Tries to go to Granitza, knocked away from him, but Marhetic is there. Again, Sting very flat. Coming out, Vancouver controlling the midfield, and at this moment controlling the ball game. 41 minutes to go in the first half. 1-0. The Whitecaps lead. The winner of this game goes on to play Toronto in the finals. The loser calls it a successful season, but the end of the season nevertheless. Chicago battled back from adversity 4 times, or else they wouldn't have even been here. They had to win 3 games at the end of the season, and they did. Then they had to beat Vancouver in Vancouver last Sunday, and they did. And now it's adversity again. Backs to the wall for both sides. And a foul call on the far side against Mark Simonson. Free kick for Vancouver just inside the Sting 35-yard line.
Jeff Stack and Franny O'Brien credited with the assist on Lenarduzzi's goal. That goal coming just 46 seconds into the match. Vancouver essentially with, as I said, Valentine and Ward out of there, playing with a midfielder up front to join the very dangerous David Cross. They can afford to drop 7, 8 men back on defense. It'll be a tough time for the Chicago Sting. The Sting's biggest goal was to get that first score in there and force Vancouver to open up. But the Whitecaps did what nobody really thought they could do, score quickly. All right, the gray and black clad Victor Nogueira flings it to Davey Houston on the near side. Houston has had a spectacular last month and a half with the Sting. Pass to Marhetic is kept in bounds by Houston. Gets it to Marhetic. Potter tries to go inside, knocked away by Todd. And here come the Whitecaps out of the zone. They just are going to bring all those white jerseys back every time the Sting is on the attack. Chicago's going to have to thread a needle just to get the ball close to the goal. Maybe the Sting pick up a penalty kick somewhere along the way. Zunino is upended. And here come the Caps back again.
Incidentally, Lenarduzzi's goal sets a North American Soccer League record for the earliest goal. The old record for the earliest goal, 2 minutes and 30 seconds by Peter Knowles. Then with the Los Angeles Wolves when they played against the Washington Whips in 1967.
Just a little bit before our time, they go to Granitza. Granitza is grabbed and put down, and we're going to get a foul. No foul call. Granitza was grabbed by Ian Bridge and dumped. You saw it clearly on your screen, but there was no foul called as Morrow lets the game continue. Morrow will be very, very hesitant to call a penalty kick in this ball game, or call a particularly dangerous foul situation, creative situation. Lenarduzzi will throw the ball in. Lenarduzzi in the midfield. 38-28 to go in the first half. Caps lead at 1-0, and now Ian Bridge comes forward, knocked away by Hayden Knight. Jerry Gray over the 35-yard line. Gray hits the bottom of the circle. Simonson coming up from the right back spot. Zunino calls for it, gets it in the attack zone. He slips and falls down again. Zunino having a nightmare out there. Gets up, takes a hard bump, still on his feet, and gets around, and the referee Morrow has called a foul. And a free kick for the Sting, but taking an advantage away. Zunino trying to put the ball back in play and inadvertently bumps it into Morrow. At least that's the way we'll choose to think about it.
Glad to see Zunino moving a little bit better. With his knees, you get a little concerned when he goes down like that in the opening minute.
All right. Davey Houston working with Marhetic. Sting back on the grass it loves so well. Zunino goes forward to Granitza. Granitza has Bridge on him. There's a shot and a good save by Bradshaw. A rocket by Jerry Gray. Bradshaw the sprawling save.
The key there was Bradshaw not overreacting to the action in front of him and being set to come up with the save. As Gray hit a very well-taken right-footed shot going to the far side, but Bradshaw reacting immediately.
Chicago Sting and Sports Vision happy birthday wish to 12-year-old Rachel Besman. Having a birthday party tonight, but they're enjoying the game on Sports Vision up in her home. Here comes Jerry Gray. Sting needs a goal to get back into it. 36-53 to go in the first half. Plenty of time, but Vancouver now has 10 men behind the midfield stripe. Only David Cross is not getting back. There's a long pass for Houston. Davies double team, tries to cross. Nobody is there as Bridge drives it out.
Good run by Houston. He's going to have the opportunity to make those runs. He really is not marking a forward tonight, and is only marking whoever's coming over from that near side. If they sit back, Davey will have the opportunity to attack some himself.
Granitza is umpired by Ian Bridge. He's down. Carl Granitza, team captain and leading scorer, made the first string All-Star team. The voting just announced by the Professional Soccer Reporters Association.
Well, Bridge got the best in the first game this series, and Granitza made him look bad in Game 2 in Vancouver. And Bridge is certainly going to let Granitza know he's there here in the decisive game.
Now a surprise. Granitza is not taking the free kick, even though it's well within his range. Rojas chipping in the box, and it's headed away. Taken back by Rudy Glenn.
Bridge originally fell down there, and it looked like there may be a good opportunity for Chicago.
All right, cross. And a foul called against Chicago.
There's no sense right there making a foul. Chicago cannot make these fouls. When they put players under pressure, like in that situation, David Cross under pressure, you want to force him to make a bad pass, but instead Hayden Knight came up his back, and Vancouver able to keep possession via the free kick.
1-0 Caps lead it. Whitecaps now somewhat content to play defensively. They've got the goal they want, and with a standout defensive ball club, they can sit on it, force the Sting to open themselves up. Just over 35 minutes in the first half. Still plenty of time. Sting's got to get that goal back, though. Rojas on the run with Tyson. Tyson beats everybody but Marhetic. Tyson just too strong for Ross. And he's coming in, and he actually almost tripped Marhetic. Marhetic kept his balance. Pato now to Jerry Gray. Played with Vancouver in the early going in his career. Now back to Glenn. Then inside to Pato. Maybe Houston. He just gives it away.
When Chicago loses the ball, they need to put Vancouver under pressure. Vancouver doesn't have the speed and the offensive power that they have with Valentine and Ward out there, so Chicago can take a few more gambles and chances by putting Vancouver under pressure.
Whitecaps not really too eager to push it forward there. They'll play side to side. Now they go to cross. Back on the far side to O'Brien. O'Brien looks for an open man. Puts it back. Now Lenarduzzi making a run in the box like he did in the early going. Then O'Brien slips, gets up. Nice defensive play by the Sting to win the ball. Symington. Good move on O'Brien. He gives it to Houston. And here comes Little Davey. Smallest man on the field, he and Manny Rojas. But they both play a tremendous amount of courage and intestinal fortitude. And now Marhetic to Victor Cadelia with 33:40 to go in the first half. Chicago trailing 1-0. Early goal by Bobby Lenarduzzi. And a sweeping tackle drives the ball away from Cedeno. Taken right back. Here comes Gray. To Granitza. Back to Gray. Gray's shot is smothered, and Vancouver's tag comes out. Upfield across. He's got Hayden Knight to beat.
Despite the obvious early problems on Chicago's part, they are pushing the ball around well and appear to be running well and supporting off the ball. So that is a good sign considering we have 78 minutes remaining in this game.
Victor Cadeo, you go back and get it for the Chicago Sting. Big soccer watching parties all over the greater Chicagoland area. Remember, if you have cable, you can get Sports Vision, your ticket to Sting indoor soccer, Blackhawk hockey, Bulls basketball, all season long. All right, Cedeno. There comes Cedeno. There's the cross. It is deflected and cleared out of there. It'll be a throw-in for Chicago. That ball all the way up into the bleachers in center field. Big soccer watching parties. Of course, all our friends over at the Maroons Club.
The broadcast rights to this game have been granted to Sports Vision by the Chicago Sting solely for the entertainment of our audience. Any reproduction or other use of this program without the consent of Sports Vision is prohibited.
All Bradshaw, green jersey, blue shorts. The officials all in red because, of course, the Sting wearing black tonight. Big Sports Vision watching party out in Elmwood Park with Al Biancalana over at Biancalana's. 200 people there watching the game tonight. All right, Cadelia to Houston. Davey in the midfield. To Pato Marhetic. Marhetic having trouble controlling that ball. He's not settling it well tonight. At least not so far. Gray looking for Cedeno, but try to pass that ball against the wind. The wind just kept it short. The Sting is moving against a slight northwest wind, or I shouldn't say a slight wind, a fairly brisk wind.
It was not a good pass on Jerry Gray's part, but Chicago's going to have to move the ball quick and try passes such as those, because as play dies, Vancouver will then have the opportunity to drop players in the defensive posture.
All right, Caps are keeping all 4 defenders back, and Jerry Gray brings it into the circle.
You can see Granitsa's getting double coverage, Bridge behind him, and Colin Todd continuously fronting Granitsa to try and prevent the service from getting to him.
Sting had a definite play set up when Jerry Gray tried to go to Granitsa on the free kick. It almost worked. But I mentioned from here on in, you'll see Carl trying to do his free kick magic. Jerry Gray again to Marhetic. Marhetic has switched wings with Cedinho, but Cedinho's coming right up the slot. Cedinho goes inside Granitsa, but it's cut off by Franz Tyson. And if they keep trying to force it to Granitsa up the middle, they're going to find him surrounded by white shirts.
The key is that Chicago's going to need to drop a second player somewhere in the territory of Granitsa to take a little bit of pressure away from him. And then if Granitsa gets double teamed, there will be somebody else to pass the ball to. But right now you can see that Vancouver trying to shut off all lanes to Granitsa.
Foul on Cross and a free kick for the Sting. Mark Symington will take it. Just over 30 minutes to go in the half. 1-0. And Lenarduzzi trying to push it back to Lowther. Heads it out of bounds. Throw in Sting just outside the 35. Rojas going to Marhetic. And the ball bounced up and hit Bridge on the arm. It's going to be a handball and a break for the Sting, because Granitsa and Marhetic both kind of thought the other guy was going to get it. So Granitsa with the free kick. Looking for the cross, probably, not for the goal from this angle. And that wind coming across the field. There's the cross. It's bending. Rojas header. He scores. Bruno Benny Rojas has tied it for the Sting. The header was not a work of art, but it did the job. I think he almost misheaded it.
I wouldn't be surprised if it came off his shoulder. Granitsa bent a beautiful ball. You see this tip over the wall, and there's Manny Rojas. Howard, you and I didn't give him enough credit. That ball caught him square on the forehead, and
Yes,
he knew exactly where he was angling that one.
It hit the inside of the post. It hit the inside of the post and came in.
Beautiful header by Manny Rojas right there. It was Manny that made the mistake in Vancouver that allowed Vancouver to tie the game up at 1 late in that match. But here in Chicago, it is Manny that scores the big goal for Chicago.
That's Rojas' first playoff goal for the Chicago Sting. A foul on Knight.
Beautifully served in ball, though, by Granitsa. Chicago hasn't scored on many of those free kicks over the last couple seasons.
Ball is in the box. Simonton's hustling for it. And now Cadelia clears it out. Good scrapping by the Sting defense. He and Bridges there. So it's a brand new game. It's like we're starting all over again. And that quick Vancouver goal now has been wiped out. 28.5 minutes to go in the first half, and a lot of people here feeling a little bit better. Houston, oh, that was dangerous. Davey just let that ball bounce. He didn't realize that David Cross was only a step or two from it. There's Rojas to Marhetic. Marhetic 1-on-1 with Sean Lowther. Back to Manny. The give and go is intercepted by Lowther. He goes to Colin Todd. So we have a brand new game, tied at 1.
The importance of scoring at this point in the game and getting back in the game is that Chicago doesn't feel the pressure right now that they're going to have to push forward quite so hard. And although Vancouver, I'm sure, is not going to be anxious to expose themselves in the back.
Here come the Caps. But Cadelia's there, and he goes to Victor Noguera. You got to give this team credit, Kenny. They have battled back. It looked like they weren't even going to make the playoffs there at the end, even though they had won 13 games. They had lost 4 in a row.
I can't give them credit for making the playoffs. Certainly, they proved a scrappy team and have played very hard considering some of the adversity they've gone through. But as far as making the playoffs are concerned,
no, but they came to Chicago with that 4-game losing streak and beat the Sting here. You got to give them a little credit for that. Marhetic on the steal. Battle for the ball. It's cleared. Ron Tyson and David Norman really scrapping out in the penalty arc for Vancouver. And now they're playing without their 2 top scorers, Ward and Valentine. But as long as they have Mr. David Cross and Fran O'Brien, they've got themselves a tough ball club. That ball's going to go. David Cross complaining to Morrow that Knight is bumping him. Morrow's not buying it. Cadelia brings it to Houston. Less than 27 minutes to go in the half. At halftime, we hope to have the Deputy Director of the North American Soccer League, the Executive Director, Ted Howard, on, and we can talk a little bit about the future of the league. Oh, the give and go just doesn't work out, but Rojas gets it back. He finds Jerry Gray. Gray's crossing, but O'Brien has come all the way back to get that ball to Bradshaw. Bray again was looking for Cedillo, but that wind is just keeping it down.
Despite what the original lineups were and what we were given, Vancouver is playing with 5 defenders, and it is not Lenaduzzi as originally insinuated, but it is Pierce O'Leary in the back with Stock, Todd, and Bridge. Lenaduzzi playing in the midfield position.
Rojas to Gray. Bridge knocks it away, but Rojas is there. Rojas is dumped in the circle. Willie Roy is off the bench. He is screaming at Vince
felt
Morrow.
that Tyson's tackle right there was a clean one.
They go forward to Granita, back to Cedillo. It's a little bit too far. It's run down by O'Brien. Cedillo goes down. Referee says play on. Willie Roy came off the bench as soon as Tyson made that tackle. Now cross in the circle.
Tyson won the ball cleanly there. The only question is whether he had actually come through the legs of Manny Rojas to get at that ball.
All right, here comes Rojas to Pato Marhetic, the Magic Man. Affectionately call that in Chicago. Symington goes to Granita, too far.
There was a case right there where I don't think Karl-Heinz Granita was anticipating that pass. Mark put the ball out a little bit too far in front of him, but he got to the ball, and had Granita been anticipating that pass, I think Karl could have taken that and turned goalward.
Just over 25 minutes left in the half. Ian Bridge. Gedalia's there. To Marhetic. To Rojas.
That's a tremendous touch right there.
Yeah. Marhetic seems to be getting the feel of the field and the ball now. Kenny, you've played a lot of soccer in your time. On cold nights like this, is that ball a little bit heavy?
It can be, especially if there's a little extra air in it or not enough, but I think tonight that's not going to be a major concern.
Here comes Cedillo moving in on Pierce O'Leary. Cedillo at the end line looks for the cross, but it's too far and over the end line.
There's an obstruction going to be called against Vancouver. Chicago will have an indirect kick.
Look at O'Brien as he's screaming.
At the end of the box. A good call there by the referee as he hesitated, did not make the call until the ball was out of bounds. He didn't want to take the advantage away from Chicago, the attacking team, in this case, by calling the foul. So he waited, and then when he saw Cedillo could not reach that ball, he made the proper call.
Granita will be bending it in.
And you can see the wall, which needs to be about 10 yards back, is only about 6 yards back. The referee, Mr. Moore, will pull him back now.
They try to open up a little bit, but that's not the same as moving backwards. All right, Granita with the free kick. Glenn is running to the near post. There's the cross again. Oh, Cedillo went in the air and missed the header. So it'll be a goal kick for Vancouver. The ball last touched by the offense.
That was a great chance right there. I'm not sure. Maybe the ball skimmed off the head of the defender before Cedillo. If not, certainly the effort of jumping up screened Cedillo. I don't think he saw that ball until the last second there.
Coach Willie Roy, the Chicago Sting.
Interesting outfit he has on.
Well, it's cold out here. Only you are dressed for summertime. Right? We understand from the Vancouver folks it's 60 degrees up there in Vancouver.
And even warmer inside the dome.
But it's 50 Fahrenheit here and dropping. It's supposed to be in the 30s tonight in Chicago. So all you Canadian folks feel right at home. Here comes O'Brien, the shot grab by Victor McGarry. We're tied at 1 in Chicago in the deciding game of the semifinals with 23-13 to go in the first half. Sting moving right to left. Manny Rojas, who has the Sting's equalizing goal, chipping it forward to Granita, but it's picked off. Karl fighting for it, but comes right back to the Whitecaps in the midfield. They have Lenarduzzi moving in, settles it nicely. Houston's on him. Lenarduzzi beating him. Lenarduzzi goes inside, but it's knocked away. Lowther is there. Marhetic comes up behind Colin Todd, knocks him down, foul on Marhetic. Crowd not happy because the whistles are going at this point. A lot of them against Chicago. Morrow, though,
somehow that's the way things work out sometimes.
That's right. But Morrow, I think, over the season has done quite a good job.
I think, though a lot of the whistles are going against Chicago so far tonight, I think that's because Chicago's committed most of the fouls.
The cross hits Manny Rojas. He's got a man, Cedillo, on the far side. Jerry Gray helping Cedillo out to open up some space. Gets it back. Cedillo makes a run. Gray pushes it forward. Too far. And it's cleared out of bounds.
There was a case there where Cedillo beat his man, but Mark Symington, coming from the defense, made a run going into the same space, and it turned out the defender running with Symington was the man that eventually beat Cedillo to the ball.
Mark Symington, number 11 for the Sting. Played soccer right here in the Chicago area at New Trier West High School, went on to Indiana University, has been with the Sting for several years. And again, the last month of the season has really come into his own as a defender. Caps come out of it. O'Brien on the far side. He's their playmaker. He's the fellow that makes this ball club go. Tremendous ball player. Made second string All-Stars. Personally, I voted for him for first string defensive or first string midfield. Diamonding gets away from one block. The ball's knocked out. It'll be the Sting's ball. Vancouver very aggressive. They go to Cedinho. Knocked away. Granitza fighting for it. Pushed away from him. And it's amazing. But Hayden Knight there to clear it to the near side. It goes out of bounds. Vancouver is finding open men surrounded by black jerseys, but they're getting the ball first. Sting just a little step slow.
Interesting, Howard. Most of the players on Chicago wearing the long sleeves underneath the jerseys, but yet some of them only in the short sleeve jerseys. Rudy Glenn, Mark Simonton. I guess when you play at Indiana University, probably get used to
either that or
such as this.
Either that or Coach Yeagley doesn't believe in long sleeve.
You look at the other side, Vancouver, all their players in the short sleeves. Jerry Gray, one of the Sting Canadian players, also in short sleeves.
The header over the bar. So the Chicago Sting's Victor Noguera will take the goal kick. Ball last touched by the offense before it went out. He drives it forward looking for Cedinho, but way over his head. That time the wind picked it up and pushed it over there. It'll be a throw-in for Vancouver, and they go to Big Ian Bridge. Big, tough central defender. With less than 20.5 minutes to go in the half. We're tied at 1. Knight pops it in the air. O'Brien controlling to Todd. This is a big, strong Vancouver team. One of the reasons they're controlling so many balls is these are big fellas. If you look at them, height and poundage, Kenny, they're much bigger than the Chicago Sting. Sting's got a couple of big boys.
Especially, Howard, when you take out a little guy like Peter Ward and you replace him with Vic Pierce O'Leary.
Yeah, that's right.
You know, that's even adding more to the situation. Valentine, another one of their shorter players.
Tyson's a big fella. Todd's a big fella. All right, Marhetic takes a big push. Pato keeps control to Gray. Back to Houston. Pato again. 1-1 with Lawson. Now Jerry Gray. Going forward, Pato. Oh, Pato.
Boy, had that ball been left by Granitza, Marhetic could have taken it. Instead, Carr wanted to touch it on. He did not need to touch it on in that occasion.
All right, Glenn to Marhetic again. Lowther clears it. Gray picks it up.
That was a tremendous chance right there. Marhetic had his man beaten, but his teammate eventually got in the way.
Symington. Usain collects it. Back to Mark Symington. Ball knocked away from him. Mark is right fullback, and he found himself all the way up on the left side of the field. The Sting is offside. A slide
it shouldn't be called. It was Granitza offside, and it was not Marhetic.
It was called. The linesman on the far side threw the flag.
The referee has no way of determining which player was off and which player was onside when the flag goes up right there.
You're right.
But there was a case where the referee turned, looked over, saw the flag up, and figured that it must have been Marhetic in the offside position. But as we saw, clearly it was Granitza, not Marhetic.
All right, Sean Lowther now. Plays a forward across. Cadelia steps in there, but can't control it. Lenarduzzi calling for the ball. Lowther gives it to him. Back to Lowther. Cadelia steps in front of a pass to Rojas. Rojas to Marhetic. And Pato back into the circle. Jerry Gray. Yes, Cedinho off on the far side. He goes instead. Looks for Rudy Glenn. Ron Tyson was there. Ball didn't have enough zing on it. Glenn continues to chase, but Tyson's right in control. The Dutch international. He's been in tight games before. He knows what he's doing. Franny O'Brien. Push it out to O'Leary. Here comes Pierce O'Leary. He's injured quite a bit of the season. There's the cross. Noguera. Shot. And finally, Cadelia.
The flag came up. There was a player there in an offside position. The linesman picked up the flag. The referee evidently did not see him.
So
sure had the ball gone in the net, Howard, you would have seen an appeal, and the goal eventually would have been negated.
Vancouver back on the attack. Jerry Gray fights his way out. Goes to Rojas. Rojas to Houston, but there's pressure now by Vancouver's Lenarduzzi. Houston goes to Marhetic. Marhetic to Granitza. Marhetic is really hit hard by Sean Lowther.
Referee saw the foul but allowed the advantage because Chicago still had possession.
And now Cedinho moving in. Here comes Cedinho. A burst of speed. He's through. Now he looks for the cross. but the cross fails to connect.
On Sanino's behalf, he skillfully beats his man, used his speed on his to his advantage right there, but he hit that hard infield dirt, and you saw the ball bouncing up and down, and it's difficult in that situation to get the clean cross off.
Sanino tried to anticipate a pass back to the goalkeeper. He cut in front, but they didn't go that way. Now Houston for the Sting in the midfield. 16:42 to go in the half. We're tied at 1. Big game at Chicago. Loser goes home. It's all over for the season. Winner goes on to the soccer ball round against Toronto. Otto Marhetic. Davey Houston to Sanino. Marhetic.
See the man fronting Granitza, Todd, taking the angle between the player and the ball consistently. The player being Granitza and the man with the ball, I should say.
All right, Sting brings Cadelia up now from the sweeper spot. He goes forward. He's got Granitza with 1-on-1 with Bridge. Back he comes. Symington's crossing. Glenn pops it over the bar. Actually, I don't even know if he shot it or had hit him.
No, he was trying to control that ball, and it squirted off his knee. Had he been able to pull that one down, it would have been a tremendous opportunity.
Less than 16 minutes to go in an exciting first half. The Sting and Vancouver deadlocked, 1 goal each. Vancouver broke early, a goal by Lenarduzzi, a header. Less than a minute gone in the ball game. Caught the Sting defense flat. But then a Karl-Heinz Granitza free kick. Manny Rojas headed it, hit the inside of the post and went in beyond Bradshaw, and that's where we stand. Symington to Glenn. Glenn in trouble.
Well, Rudy's having trouble there controlling the ball.
Here comes Rojas. Now Glenn again. Sanino has crossed over to the near wing. Rojas now on the far wing. To Marhetic. To Jerry Gray. Oh, Gray has a hard hit. Referee says play on. They try to go to Sanino, but it is intercepted by Lauter. They're out there hitting tonight. There's a race, and Sanino wins it. Gets it to Cadelia. Beats Lenarduzzi. Cadelia turns it around to Davey Houston. Rojas. Talking to Rojas after the game in Vancouver, where he had such a tough time of it until he got that cross on Granitza's third goal. He was saying that AstroTurf really bothered him up there. He's just used to playing on grass, and when he doesn't play on AstroTurf for a while, it bothers him. Another bad pass. Sting's passing has been very tentative for the at least part way here in the first half. Some of those passes just are only going about halfway. And now Tyson. To O'Leary. And now Jeff Stock moving. O'Leary overlapping. They go to O'Leary. O'Leary's crossing. Lenarduzzi gets it. But Knight clears it.
Lenarduzzi's thinking was very good right there, but David Cross didn't anticipate it. Did not show himself towards Lenarduzzi.
There's a drive toward Granitza. He and Ian Bridge on a race. Granitza has it headed over the end line by Bridge. It's going to be a corner kick Sting. Granitza will take it from the far corner. It was that matchup that produced the game winner in Vancouver when Bridge could not field Victor Nogueira's goal kick. Granitza got it and chipped it beyond the onrushing Paul Bradshaw. Now Granitza. Let's see if it'll be a direct cross or a short corner. Marhetic calls for it. But he brings it to Gray. Jerry Gray in the box. And he goes down in the box. And referees allowing an offside call, I believe, right, Kenny?
No.
Oh, is there a foul?
Just calling advantage. It was actually Mark Simonton that made the run inside the box. And Mark took the dive, questioned whether or not he was fouled. If he was fouled there and the referee made the call, it would have been a penalty kick. But the referee, as we've seen throughout the playoffs and going into the playoffs, hesitating all the time to call the penalties.
There's Rojas' cross. In the air they go. And this big Bradshaw over everybody. Once they got past Rudy Glenn, the Sting didn't have any big men up there. Bradshaw left foots it. Downfield with the wind at his back. Cadelia missed kick to try to clear it. And David Cross will throw it in. 12:41 to go in the half. We're tied at 1. They put it forward. Check that. David Norman comes back. There's a shot by Lenarduzzi and a grab by Nogueira. Lenarduzzi tried to bend that to the far post. Nogueira came down with it. Drives it forward. Looking for Sanino, but that ball's going to bounce. And Bridge pops it right back to the Sting zone. Linesman has his flag up for the offside as Symington battles it up to Gray. Gray's one touch is intercepted. Rojas fights for it. But the Vancouver Muscle wins it again as Franny O'Brien battles. Symington comes up with it. back to Victor Noguera. Ted Howard, the executive director of the North American Soccer League, has joined us up in the booth. We'll be talking to Ted at halftime as Davey Houston brings it forward. Gray makes an overlapping run on the near side. Houston. Again, a telegraph pass, anticipated and intercepted. Now they go to Simonson. Pato Mahedek fans out. Simon in a long drive to Granita. Bridge is there. Heads it to the near side. Cleared upfield by Lowther, and Bobby Lenarduzzi. Check that. Yeah, that's Lenarduzzi. Takes it on the run. Crosses the 35-yard line. Vancouver dangerous here. Lenarduzzi puts it forward, but little Manny Rojas.
He had a man making a run up from the back. I believe that might have been Norman or Tyson. And he put the ball through. That man was totally unmarked. Could have been a good goal-scoring chance for Vancouver.
Sting coming against the wind, moving right to left. Rojas, as Rudy looks for Glenn, goes instead to Cedinho. It's over his head. But it comes to Marhetic. Marhetic one-on-one to Cedinho. Cedinho in the box. Oh, he is dunked on the far side.
Oh, there they should get some help from the linesman, because that should have been a penalty. The linesman signaling for the corner kick. The referee did not have a good view of that one. But you can see right here on the replay, Cedinho put the ball past the man and then was taken down. That is a 100% penalty kick. I do not criticize the referee. He did not have a good view of that. But the linesman did not help him at all. The linesman signaling for the corner kick.
A hard tackle by Pierce O'Leary. Cedinho appears to have hurt his left wrist. All right, Marhetic, there's the cross, top of the box. Knight is in the air, pushed away from him. Jerry Gray pops it right back in. Up in the air they go, pushed out. Hayden Knight goes for the slide tackle, misses it. Simonson fighting for it, but cross comes up. We're going to foul call against the Sting. We may have a yellow card offense, but the referee is allowing play to go on since Vancouver has the ball. Franny O'Brien with it. Vancouver player down on the 35-yard line. And we're going to get a foul called here.
I think a stoppage of play here to let the trainer come on and attend to the injured player. That's Sean Lowther, who was taken down after releasing the ball, and appears to be an injury somewhere above the left ankle, maybe to the left ankle.
The Caps have Tony Towers, an experienced vet, on the bench, but their other two reserves are amateur players. Tomorrow on Sports Vision, we're going to get a lot of great football action. At 1:30, Football America 84. At 2:30, Pac-10 football, Arizona.
There's a time we all know when everyone does their best and everything comes together and you leave all the rest. You're number one. That's what you do. Number one, fight for you.
Yeah, Budweiser with the distinctively clean, smooth Beechwood aged taste that's made it number one, the world's most popular beer.
He's going to be all right.
You had mentioned before, Cedinho, after he was taken down, hurt his wrist. Here on the other end, you see a very late tackle there by Hayden Knight. Did not appear to be all that much contact between the two players, but no question, Hayden was sliding in long after the ball was played, the referee allowing the advantage. Now we're going to see a drop ball.
Like a hockey face-off, where play is stopped because of an injury, and the ball is kicked away up to David Cross. Cross pushed it over to O'Brien. We have less than 10 minutes to go in the first half. David Norman with it now, picked up by Victor Cadelia. Interception by the Sting, taken right back by Vancouver. They coming forward, we got problems. Here comes Lenarduzzi, and he skies it. But that ball was deflected off a Sting defender. It's going to be a corner kick. The Whitecaps will take it from the near corner down to our right. Don't forget Chicago Sting indoor soccer. Louis Roy, Chicago coach, pacing the field. Season's on the line in this game, we know it. Sting will open in St. Louis on November the 2nd, the first home game at the Chicago Stadium being against Kansas City. Sting ticket information, 558-KICK, 558-KICK. Get schedules and information on indoor soccer. 24 big home games at the stadium. All right, Franny O'Brien. He'll have the wind at his back as he takes this corner kick. There's the crossing again. Out in front, knocked away. Danger, but Mark Symington deflects the shot by Ian Bridge. O'Leary puts it back in the box, so we have an offside call. And that was a little bit questionable. Linesman was so sure Vancouver would be offside that he was a little bit quick. He called O'Brien offside, but nevertheless, Sting coming out, moving right to left. Karl-Heinz Granitza. To Marhetic. Bridge on him. Marhetic is dumped away. We have a foul on Ian Bridge. Bridge is doing a lot of kicking out there, which is his role. He's got to be the enforcer. Sting has had too much success coming up the middle. All right, Manny Rojas will take the free kick. Again, Granitza is in the box. Not an accustomed role for Granitza on these free kicks. 8:14 to go. They go to Houston, back to Rojas. Rojas picked up by Tyson, crossing for Granitza. He seals it for Marhetic. A shot. He scores! What a brilliant play! That play had to be a set play. Rojas to Granitza. To Pato Marhetic, and the Sting leads it 2-1.
Beautiful goal on Chicago's part, and a very patient goal as they played the ball short, and they allowed the defense to react then as the ball was in play, and then Rojas with the service into Granitza. He takes two defenders with him and leaves it for Marhetic, who was able to pull away from Lenarduzzi right there. A well-placed shot on Marhetic's part. You thought with all the bodies piled up in front of the goal that there was actually less goal to shoot at than bodies, but Pato bent it around the entire mess of players and into the far side.
All right, Vancouver coming back on the attack. Ball's driven forward, intercepted by Gray. So for the first time tonight, the Chicago Sting has taken the lead. And we're pouring the hot coffee here on this cold night at Comiskey Park. Pretty good crowd on hand, and they are making their presence felt.
And you bring up the point again, Howard, that Chicago using Granitza on some of these free kicks down low. And it doesn't have to be Karl-Heinz Granitza taking every free kick. Both Chicago goals coming off of free kicks from the same position.
And now Rojas thought Jerry Gray was going to zig. Jerry Gray zagged, but Marhetic comes back. Gives it to Simonton. Sting on the attack with 6:55 to go in the half. And Marhetic is upended. We have a foul called against Vancouver on the far side. So the Caps commit the foul as David Norman drops Pato Marhetic. Free kick Sting on the 35-yard line.
Again, I got to bring up the intelligence of Manny Rojas. Had he played the original ball off the free kick to Granitza, it would not have worked. The opportunity was not there. But instead, he played it short. I believe it was Mark Simonton or Davey Houston. Then he took the ball as it was played back to him, and then the opportunity opened up for him to play it into Granitza.
Kenny, in the last 6 ball games Vancouver has played, they are 1-5. They have scored 1 goal in each of those games. If the Chicago Sting could count on the fact that they're not going to score any more tonight, the Sting has the semifinal wrapped up. However, I think the Whitecaps may have some different ideas. 6:03 to go in the first half. Franny O'Brien will take the free kick from the Chicago Sting 35-yard line. Pushes it back to Ian Bridge. Bridge chipping into the box, intended right out to Marhetic. One touch to Rojas, back to Pato. Coming 2-on-2. Pato has Cedinho. He's got it. Here comes Cedinho. Oh, he couldn't settle the ball. He gets it again. He goes inside. Jerry Gray shot. Deflected. Marhetic on the rebound. The Sting leads it 3-1. Marhetic on the rebound. Cedinho, Jerry Gray, Marhetic, and Bradshaw is down in the penalty area.
Jerry Gray, tremendous hustle following this up. You got to give Cedinho credit as well. After he was unable to control the ball, he cut back, put pressure on the defender. But Jerry Gray, following everything up right here, got the ball, and as he tried to slide it under Bradshaw, it came off the goalkeeper and straight over to Marhetic, who was the right man on the spot.
That's
Chicago with the 3-1 lead.
Pato Marhetic is second of the game and his third of these playoffs, so Pato Marhetic becomes the top goal scorer for the Sting in the playoffs with 3. But you're going to have to give Jerry Gray a big assist and Cedinho a big assist. Well, at least we're going to give it that. I don't know which way it's going to come out of the press box.
There was some great passing, though, Howard, out of the back to give Chicago the numerical advantage, especially Manny Rojas. He was the one that put Marhetic through the first time before Cedinho got the ball. The goalkeeper, Bradshaw, up off the ground.
Bradshaw has to get off the ground.
I'm sure he's okay.
He has to get up.
Because the fact is, you noticed on the replay, and it might have just been purely instinct. After the ball went past him, he did get up again, and then when it hit the back of the net, you can see the dejection as he lay, and I'm sure the pain settling in.
Bradshaw, an outstanding goalkeeper. He has been so tough. He has shut out the Chicago Sting twice. All right, Vancouver kicks off. Don't think this one's over by any means. I remember, Kenny, when Chicago led Vancouver 3-0 at Wrigley Field just a few weeks ago, and Vancouver battled back. They got 1 goal in the second half and came so close to a couple more. Remember Mr. Cross just missing. All right, 5:14 to go in the half. Jerry Gray up to Granitza, back to Gray, to Pato Marhetic. He loses it. Vancouver, very explosive team, and they've got a man free, but a slide tackle by Cadelia wins it. Taken right back by David Norman. Norman pushed it forward. Here comes Tyson. Tyson looks for the crossing pass. Tyson at the end line. There's the cross in the air. And the Chicago Sting Hayden Knight finally clears it.
There was a shot there to hit Davey Houston in the arm. A penalty kick could have been called. Vancouver was calling for it.
I don't think the referee had any angle, Kenny.
Because it was going, he could not see it, but again, the linesman could have picked up the flag. Nonetheless, bad situation there. A very high cross. Victor Nogueira had to come out and grab that cross. He cannot put the pressure on his defense like that. Otherwise, the defenders will start to get shaky.
When they throw Leonarduzzi and Cross and a couple of those big guys out in front, they're matched up against little guys like Houston. Nogueira must make a move. He must go out and just pound that ball away.
That was an easy cross to come out and grab. It was not one of those bending, twisting crosses. It was a nice little lollipop waiting for the goalkeeper to come out and grab it.
In other words, when the keeper doesn't come out, a lollipop cross makes a sucker out of the goalkeeper. All right, here they come. Simonson in the circle. Gets around Franny O'Brien. Pushes it up to Jerry Gray. Gray to Rudy Glenn. His feet are wiped out. And there's no call as the ball whipped past Granitza. Yeah, we're going to get a call. Granitza asked for the penalty, or Simonson asked for the foul, and the referee
I don't think it's
yes.
because Mark asked for it. I'm sure the referee saw the original foul, wanted to allow the advantage. But when he saw there was no advantage, he realized he had to make the call. And they borrow an old expression, better late than never.
Are you going to give it back? All right, Sanino in the midfield. Right now it's fun and games at Comiskey Park with the Sting a 2-goal lead with 3.5 minutes
Still
to go.
plenty of time, though.
You
3.5 minutes remain in the first half.
And
Over 48 remaining here in the game or in regulation time.
Any team with an O'Brien, a Tyson, a David Cross, they're going to be tough all during the game. Throw in Sting. Manny Rojas to Karl-Heinz Granitza. Looks for Marhetic. He gives it to him. Marhetic now to roll to Sanino. He's inside. Keeper's down, and he went too deep. Sanino went too deep, and the ball went over the end.
There was an opportunity there to ice the game. He beat the keeper, but he took it too deep and could not get the shot off with the left-footed effort. Marhetic appeared to be open, and he dumped the ball right in the middle, right here. Marhetic, who was outside of your picture, I think could have finished that one off.
3-1 Chicago. 2:43 to go in the half. And we're going to get a foul. They've taken the advantage away from Vancouver as a foul called against Rudy Glenn, a delayed call by Vince Morrow. And Lauder is pretty angry. Cross is angry. And Tyson, of course, is angry. Well, you got 3 angry men. 9 more and you got a jury. All right, here we go. Free kick. Vancouver midway into the Sting zone. You got to be careful. They are so adept at crossing. There's an offside call by the linesman on the free kick. But it was ignored by Morrow as Houston pumps it back to the midfield. Lauder pushes it right back in. A flying Cadelia drives it back to the midfield.
It's interesting now. We saw at the beginning of this game how difficult it was to find anybody open with Vancouver backing everybody up. But now with Chicago, the 2-goal lead, there's
a yellow card. Yellow card is coming up, but who's it going to?
It's going to go against Hayden Knight, and justifiably so. Victor Nogueira was knocked into by the Vancouver player. I believe it was David Cross. It was unintentional.
Absolutely.
The referee was there. He realized it was unintentional, and evidently Hayden Knight must have retaliated. You can see right here, David Cross coming into the goalkeeper. Nothing really serious right there. Nogueira coming up with the knee to protect himself. Cross held up and stopped. Nogueira goes to the ground. But then Hayden Knight evidently retaliates against Cross.
And for Hayden Knight, that is his second yellow card.
And more importantly, it gives Vancouver an excellent opportunity to score here.
Yeah, second yellow card of the playoffs. We're going to talk to Ted Howard and ask how many of those can you get before you have to sit out a playoff game. A direct free kick right at the top of the box. O'Brien is standing there with Fran Tyson, who has a hard shot, but Nogueira is able to field it. As Fran Tyson can knock the back out of a barn. Oh, Nogueira takes a kick from Cross. Referee says...
Again, David Cross had every right to go after that ball. Nogueira put it down, realized that Cross was standing there and went after it, and he just simply beat Cross by a little bit to the ball.
Simonson scissor kicks it out, but it's taken right back by Norman. Runs into Sanino, knocked away. Sanino's down, gets up. He and Norman are Sanino and Sanino has just taken an elbow right in the side of the face. David Norman has just smashed Sanino in the side of the face, and Norman is getting a yellow card.
Well, Sanino got a yellow card. Right there, we'd have to see the replay. Sanino got a yellow card. I don't know whether Norman got one.
Well, if he didn't, he should have. He really hammered Cedillo right in the side of the mouth. Cedillo, certainly not one of your Pier 6 brawler types.
Maybe we'll be able to see what happens. Cedillo trying to get at the ball.
Oh, there it is. That's the first one.
Well, there were two things that happened right there. As Norman hit Cedillo with the elbow, Cedillo's foot was driving through the back of Norman's heel. I'm not quite sure that Cedillo really deserved it right there. But you can see he really caught an elbow there from Norman. And I guess only Norman really knows whether or not it was intentional.
And he isn't going to tell Kenny. You can rest assured that.
He'll tell. He'll
There's
say
O'Brien's cross. Cut it away. And cleared. And now Cedillo smashes into Norman. When the referee's back was turned, Cedillo dished out a little elbow to the back of Norman. Nobody saw it, except us, of course, because we're the Hawks. We always make it, don't we, Kenny? We see it all.
Quite honestly, I didn't see it.
And we tell you about it.
I was looking downfield with the referee here, but the referee having a lot of trouble controlling this game at this point. Fortunately, there's only 41 seconds remaining here.
The Caps with a very dangerous corner kick. Now, all corner kicks are dangerous. The Sting has had problems defending, but the Whitecaps, because of their style of play, have got some of these. Well, it's going to be a throw-in, fortunately. They've got some of these corner kicks down to a science. Throw-in comes to Ian Bridge. Puts it forward. This is David Norman again. Challenged by Houston. Back to Bridge. He's crossing. Nogueira grabs it on the line. 27 seconds left in the half. Sting leading 3-1. Nogueira delivers to Marhetic. And is headed away by Pierce O'Leary. So the Sting with a throw-in, that probably will kill the half if the Sting can advance it up past the midfield stripe. Now, if Chicago holds on and wins this game, the Sting will open the Soccer Bowl round here at Comiskey Park on Monday night at 8 p.m. Sting ticket information, 558-KICK, 558-KICK. The Sting ticket people will be in the office at 9 o'clock on Saturday and on Sunday to field your calls. You can use your Visa or MasterCard American Express. So call them tomorrow, 558-KICK, and order your ticket for the Soccer Bowl round. But there is the end of the first half. The Sting now has to defend 45 minutes.
Both
and we have an altercation in the middle of the field.
Both coaches running after the referee. Neither of them very happy with what's happened. And I'm not sure whether Willie Roy wants to have a few words with the ref or just go out there to pull Hinton away.
I think that's what he did. Alan Hinton got there first. But the score at the end of halftime, the Chicago Sting 3, the Vancouver Whitecaps 1. And we're going to sort it all out for you, and we'll be talking with Ted Howard. But now we are going to retire for a few moments for these messages.
There's a time we all know when everyone does the best. Everything comes together. You leave all the rest. You're number one at what you do. Number one, that's fun for you. Budweiser with the clean, smooth Beechwood Age taste that's made it number one, the world's most popular beer. In all you do, that's fun for you.
The world is divided in half. Some can go to the net, some can't. There are good backhands and bad ones. The most important to Bic, some guys have normal skin while others have more sensitive skin. So Bic made the new Bic Orange. It shaves sensitive skin gently and closely. So remember, for normal skin like mine, the original Bic White Shaver. And for sensitive skin, the new Bic Orange. Oh, by the way, some people love John McEnroe, and some people,
Chicago dropped behind right away at the beginning of the ball game in less than a minute played. It was Bob Lenarduzzi who hammered that ball in, and then the Sting took charge.
First of all, a look at the Vancouver goal. There's the ball, O'Brien, that was Cadelia that got ahead, and then Lenarduzzi coming over the top of Davey Houston. Davey giving a few inches away. But Lenarduzzi scoring the goal, good goal on his part. Chicago got back in there off the head of Manny Rojas as he knocked it off the side of the post. Rojas, I think, really perhaps a star of the first half. As he scores this goal, he will assist on the next goal. And this came off another free kick where he laid the ball into Granitza. Granitza found Marhetic out in front, and Marhetic just bent the ball. You can see there's two players right there, plus a goalkeeper, and Marhetic just bent the ball around all three of them into the far side. And then the final goal, and that one scored off a brilliant pass by Rojas, putting Marhetic and Cedillo out 2 against 1. And then Cedillo eventually losing the ball Jerry Gray following it up very, very well. The goalkeeper made the original save, but the ball squirted over to Marhetic. I got to give Gray a lot of credit for making that effort. And that's where we are. Chicago leading 3-1.
And the second half has started with Vancouver kicking off, moving right to left. Bring it up to Cross, but he slips down. There was a rain here in Chicago a little bit earlier today, and some of the turf here at Comiskey Park a little bit on the slippery side. Looks like both teams have started the same lineups that began the game.
Chicago outshot Vancouver 7-5 in the first half. 3 saves for Victor Noguera and 2 credited to Paul Bradshaw. 11 fouls called against Vancouver, 9 called against Chicago. And there you see the corner kicks, 2 for the Sting and 1 for the Whitecaps.
Hayden Knight drives the ball out, just back. Will throw it in for Vancouver. Bring it up to David Norman. Back to O'Brien. He was looking for a cross. Turned out to be a shot on goal. Fortunately, the Garrett didn't come off the line far enough where it became dangerous. Now Davey Houston on the far side to Fido Marhetic. He's got a couple of goals tonight. You're just joining us. Leonard Ducey scoring first for Vancouver. The Sting countering with goals by Manny Rojas and a pair by Fido Marhetic. Rudy Glenn in the double team. Forced the pass back, but Knight is there to clear it back upfield. Ross, what a beautiful trap by Manny Rojas off the instep. However, his pass to Ganitza went astray, and Pierce O'Leary for Vancouver pushed it upfield. Here come the Caps. Noguera feels it easily.
Before the second half even started, Elvis Comrie of the Sting warming up here on the sidelines. So perhaps we will see Comrie coming off the bench for Chicago sometime during the second half.
Well, if the Sting wins this ball game tonight, they're going to have to play again Monday night right here at Comiskey Park against Toronto, an 8 o'clock start. And I guess Willie Roy is thinking maybe if the Sting can get far enough into this game with that lead, that he's going to rest a couple of the fellows who may need it the most, perhaps a fellow like Sanino, who with 35 years old, you can't expect him to play every second or third day. Symington driving it forward. Glenn got a piece of it. I think it was originally intended for Granitza. And now Leonard Ducey hammers it back upfield, but Knight doing a nice job. Hayden Knight playing probably with more ball control and finesse than I've seen.
It's a bad foul right there on Bridges' part. And I'm surprised we don't see yellow card. Obviously an intentional foul. I think Granitza saw it coming as he picked up both legs out of the ground and let the ball play through. I think Granitza knew it was going to come.
We'll
see on the replay. You can see Granitza very much aware of the fact that he was about to get kicked. He's very fortunate. That was an obviously that was an intentional foul on Bridges' part, and we should have seen at the minimum a yellow card caution.
Looks like there will be no caution, however, as Jerry Carter, Chicago Sting trainer, working on the Chicago Sting leading scorer, Karl-Heinz Granitza. And Rudy Glenn is talking to the referee and telling him exactly what he feels about no card going to Ian Bridge. Bridge has played a good, strong center back spot. And while Granitza is getting his bearings, let's go away for these words.
What's cold as ice goes down so nice. Yes, it's love at life, and it tastes just right. Yes, it's perfectly clear. It's all you want in a beer. Tastes good and light, and it goes down so right, so nice, so right. Yes, it's love at life.
Who's got Canada's best truck value? Mazda. The surprising Mazda B2000 is the lowest priced truck in Canada with all these standard features. An AM/FM radio, 5-speed, steel-belted radios, a no-cost 3-year service protection plan, and more. All standard. Surprising? Not to our competition. They know when it comes to the best truck value in Canada, Mazda sets the standard.
Back at Comiskey Park with 42-16 to go in the ballgame. Sting leading 3-1. Foul against Chicago has given Vancouver a free kick from the midfield. O'Brien just taps it over to Pierce O'Leary. Back. Granitza covering O'Leary. Almost on the intercept with Sanino, and Symington does clean it up. Good defensive play by Sanino. Gets it back. Sanino, what a tremendous season he has had. The best season he has ever had, even with all those great years with the Cosmos. This year, with 8 goals during the course of the year, and he has just been outstanding in the playoffs. Ron Tyson with the down. There's Marhetic to beat. Sting is charged up. Sting is not laying back, Kenny, at all. They are coming out after Vancouver. Another foul against Chicago. Put it in play immediately. Here comes Lauder. He goes to Tyson. Looking for cross. Header. Over. And it's going to be a goal kick, Chicago.
Perhaps an offside call.
Yeah, I think so.
Originally, as the flag came up early right there. Nonetheless, it'll be Chicago's ball. I think one thing that is encouraging for Chicago and their entire team is the chasing they're getting out of the front line this evening. Players such as Sanino, Marhetic, and Granitza, 3 players who usually expend most of their energies going forward, coming back consistently to help out putting some of the Vancouver players under pressure.
Sanino and David Norman. Oh, Norman or Tyson threw a heel back into Sanino. Sanino was able to step over it, though. And the ball is knocked out by Vancouver. So they're all taking their picks on Arsenio Rodriguez Hardim tonight. Mr. Sanino. Slight of frame, but big of heart. Rojas looks for Glenn. Glenn makes the run, opens up some space. He goes to Simonton instead, gets it right back to Jerry Gray. Pushed off the ball by Tyson. And here comes Vancouver. They've got Leonarduzzi over on the far side, but Cadelia comes up with it for the Sting. Tupano. The Magic Man with 2 goals tonight brings it to the near side. Simonton trying to hold it in. Can't do it. Throw in Vancouver. We're down just about to the 40-minute mark. Now, Kenny, there's a young ball boy who doesn't realize he's not only going over the greater Chicago area here on Sports Division, but also Canada as well on the Sports Network. O'Brien comes forward, but Knight knocks it away from Cross and hammers it upfield. Knight is doing a pretty good job on Cross.
How do you know he doesn't realize it, Howard?
Kenny, I am willing to testify in court that young man did not know he was going over the great country of Canada. All right, Sting with the ball. 39.5 minutes to go in the ball game. Chicago holding on to that 3-1 lead. Rojas, who, as Kenny mentioned earlier, has had an outstanding game for Chicago. Brings it to Gray. Gray with his 4th team, really enjoying his stay here at Chicago. Played 4 years with Vancouver, moved to Montreal. Played with the Expos a season, the Expos, the Manica season, and came to the Cosmos, and now here's the Sting.
He's a good athlete, but I don't think good enough to play for the Expos.
Oh, how good are the Expos? All right, here's Davey Huson. City of New York certainly has no love for Chicago this season, with the Cubs eliminating the Mets and the Sting eliminating the Cosmos. It's been a rough time for Metropolis or Gotham or what have you. Now, Marhetic.
That was not Pato's fault right there. Mark should have held up on his run. He really had nowhere to go with O'Brien running near him. But Pato put the ball where he thought Mark would end up, and unfortunately, Mark wasn't there.
That's the 35, Fron Tyson. Now gives it to Todd, not Todd to O'Leary. Pierce O'Leary. And he has the same problem that the Sting was having in the first half. Those crosses from that particular spot, the wind is catching them and pulling them back, but O'Brien gets there. We're going to have an obstruction call going against Benny Rojas on the far side, stood in front of Franny O'Brien. Crowd's pretty unhappy over there because O'Brien, I guess, used his hands when he was obstructed, but the first call going against Rojas. Free kick, Vancouver. Into the box, gets by Glenn, but Marhetic is there. Forward to Gray, too far. Push back on the far side. There's the cross again, pushed away by Simonton. Davey Huson for the Sting. Drives it upfield. Ian Bridge will run it down. Clock shows just about 37.5 minutes to go in the ball game.
Boy, oh boy, did you see Sanino take off right there?
Unbelievable speed.
Especially considering the ball was on the other side of the field.
They talk about the great Portuguese runners. But I'll tell you, Sanino 10 years ago could probably fly with anybody in the world. Marhetic goes to Sanino. Now Jerry Gray, yes, Simonton moving up from the right back spot. Granitza comes back to help out. He says, Mark, just stay back. I'll take it from here. To Gray. Marhetic back to Gray, trying to make the run. But Ian Bridge and Lauder team up, getting back to Bradshaw. Glad to see Bradshaw's all right. A very, very fine goalkeeper for Vancouver. He was shaken up on the Sting's 3rd goal. but he knew he had to come back in the game. Coach Alan Hinton didn't have anybody to take his place, and sure enough, he bounced back. Less than 37 minutes to go now as Bridge puts it upfield. Ball is headed away by Cross. Be a throw-in for Chicago. Vancouver doing everything they can, looking for any kind of solution, any kind of combination to try to open up the Chicago Sting defense. And Gray is going to get wrapped. Morrow allowing the foul against Tyson and a free kick for Vancouver in the midfield. They're going to leave it for Colin Todd. Todd's crossing in the box. The header is grabbed by Nogueira. Oh,
there should be a caution right there.
Put his foot right in Nogueira's stomach as Nogueira delivered the ball upfield. Here comes Cedinho. Steps around Stock. In the box, Cedinho trying to break through. Keeper's out. He's crossing in front of him. Kicked off the line. Great individual effort by Cedinho.
Tremendous run there by Cedinho. Once he got going, there was no stopping until he ran out of territory, and then he just tried to slide in front. At the other end, I don't think there was any contact there between Cross and Nogueira, but the intention was obvious on Cross's part right there.
Corner kick Sting. Rojas will take it. They've got Gray right at the top of the box. Symington making a run in the box. There's the cross. The header pushed out by Bridge. Marhetic has it again. Marhetic is tipping it, and it'll go over the end line. It'll be a goal kick, Vancouver. So the Caps put it in play immediately. They bring it to Lenarduzzi. Lenarduzzi, who is playing a right fullback spot, has now switched over to a left fullback spot as he sneaks upfield.
He'll be pushed forward for much of the second half.
I think so.
Although listed as a defender, he's actually been playing out of the midfield and coming back to help out defensively. But in this situation, I'm sure we'll see him going forward on every opportunity to attack.
Knight got away with a push on Cross. Cross appealed to the referee. The referee probably not too friendly to Cross at this point. And we're going to have a foul against Vancouver's Wilder on the far side. Free kick Sting. Down under 34 and a half minutes. Sting leading 3-1. Remember, for the loser, accolades. Great season. But for them, the season's over. For the winner, the opportunity to meet Toronto for the North American Soccer League title. And if it's the Sting, the first game will be here, right here at Comiskey Park on Monday night, this coming Monday night, with only 2 days rest. The Sting will take on Toronto, 8 o'clock here at Comiskey Park. All right, here comes Jerry Gray trying to fight his way through. He's got Glenn. And we're going to have a foul called as Gray was upended.
Vancouver with their first substitution warming up on the far sideline. So evidently, Alan Hinton is going to make a change when he gets his next opportunity.
Remember the Sting ticket information, 558-KICK, 558-KICK, Visa, MasterCard, American Express, all accepted. And call the Sting office tomorrow or Sunday. All day, Sting will have operators on duty for final round playoff tickets. 558-KICK. All right, Manny Rojas with the free kick, midway into the attack zone. There's the cross again. Cedinho, no, Stock heads it away. Symington is there. Back for Cedinho. Glenn knocked away from the ball, and the ubiquitous Freddie O'Brien comes up with it.
Boy, oh boy, you've been reading the dictionary again.
Isn't that a beautiful word? It means he's everywhere. He's everywhere.
Of course I know what it meant.
I didn't say you did.
Why don't you think I know what it meant?
I think it was really for the benefit of our director, Harlan Singer. Harlan spent a lot of years in Philadelphia. You don't get a lot of language there. All right, here comes Cedinho. Knocked away, but Gunitz is there. He's putting Cedinho through. Ball kicked away. Too bad that came close. Cedinho was almost put through by Gunitz, but O'Leary is there. Push it to O'Brien. Franny O'Brien across the 35-yard line. Try to put it up to cross by him. Hayden Knight stretches those long, lean legs, runs it down, gets it to Cadelia. Now back over to Manny Rojas. To Marhetic. Into the circle. Tyson is there. And Vancouver's David Norman brings it back to Todd.
Difficult situation here for Vancouver. They're naturally a little bit negative-minded, and they're trailing by 2 goals, and yet they somehow have got to open things up and create some opportunities to get back in this game.
Ball hits Lowther and goes out. I checked that. It was Lenarduzzi. The ball hit and went out. And now Lowther pumps it out to prevent Pato Marhetic from doing his little number on the far side. So the Sting will have a throw in midway into the Vancouver zone. 32-17 to go in the ballgame. There's a shot of some of the frigid but very happy fans.
I tell you what, when it's 80, 90 degrees out, everybody says, let me see your ticket stub.
Here's Jerry Gray. Gray's chipping it forward. Sanino runs it down. I don't know what Gunitz was so unhappy about. Here comes Sanino again, crossing again, but no, he couldn't get it to Gunitz.
I started to say when it's real hot out.
Okay.
You sit down and everybody says, are you sure you're supposed to be here? Maybe you're in a different row. But when it's this cold as it is tonight, people out there, they're just recruiting in the aisles. Come sit in my row, come sit in my row. They try to pack in as many as they can to keep warm in this situation.
Here comes the Caps on the attack. Gray cuts it off to Noguera. A nice defensive play by Jerry Gray. He came all the way back to cut off that run by Lowther. Nice play by Gray. Upfield. And Bridge comes over the back of Greenwich, so the linesman saw it. And Helder Diaz on the near side.
You can hear Willie Roy from the bench yell foul.
Yeah, Diaz flag meant a little more, I think, to Vince Morrow.
I think you're right.
Sting puts it in play to Davey Houston, crossing midfield. Goes to Marhetic. Pato running into traffic at the 35-yard line. Back to Davey. Less than 31 minutes to go in the ball game. To Gray. Gray has Symington making the run on the near side. Goes to Gunitsa, posted high. Gunitsa back to Gray. Knocked away by O'Brien, and it goes out. Let's see how they call it. Last touch by Gray. Throw in on Jeff Stock. And for those of you watching their first Vancouver Whitecap game, we want to remind you that Jeff Stock is the son of Wes Stock, Major League pitching coach. And we won't tell you that again. All right, to go to Ian Bridge. Glenn chasing Bridge. Back he comes. He's got Jeff Stock. There's the cross headed away by Mark Symington.
And two defenders caught upfield. It's a good opportunity for the counterattack.
Here comes Sanino moving with Gunitsa and Marhetic coming up the slot. Rojas crossing to the far side, but the pass by Sanino knocked away. Colin Todd was there. He brings it to O'Brien. Nice trap by Franny O'Brien. What a ball player. Moves in on Symington. Symington kicks it away. Let's give Symington some credit. And there's a long one for Symington again, making the run. Here comes Mark through the infield dirt. Back he comes to Marhetic. Pato looks for Rojas. 1-1 with Lowther. Rojas, and it's kicked up in the air. Marhetic leaves it for Symington. Scissor kicks it up. Rojas down. As Sanino went to try to scissor.
Tremendous action in front of the Vancouver net. Right there, and a beautiful chip shot by Manny Rojas was cleared off the line by one of the Vancouver defenders running back into the net.
I mean, he just didn't put his foot into the net. All right, here comes Vancouver coming out of their zone on the run. The Caps have not given up by any means. They've got Ian Bridge up forward now. Bridge taps it back to Norman. On the far side, Leonard Ducey. There's the cross again. Danger. Headed out in front. Glenn going for it. Vancouver still controlling. Knight gets a foot in there. Hayden Knight made a big play. Otherwise, Cross would have had a run at the goal. Here comes Marhetic. He finds Gunitz in the circle. And he drives it upfield. Way too far for Sanino. And the Caps turning around immediately right to left. Less than 29 to go in the game. 3-1. All the scoring in the first half. Vancouver got on the board first. In the first minute of play, a header by Leonard Ducey. Rojas tied it for the Sting on a header off of Gunitz across. And then it was Marhetic with a pair. Caps again to Bridge. Knocked away. Vancouver gets it back. Sanino goes for the steal, almost swipes it. And Pierce O'Leary pushed it off to the far side. This Sanino is a wonder of the modern age, Kenny. Where does he get that incredible quickness?
What a sneaky guy, too. He hides out there a little bit, stands on the sideline, and all of a sudden he sees a mistake right about to happen on the opposition's part, and then he makes that run forward, and boy, is he effective.
Raiders, Rudy Glenn. Glenn is put down. We're going to get a foul. Colin Todd put Rudy Glenn down. Nice trap by Rojas on a through ball by Jerry Gray. Once again, Jerry Carter, Sting trainer, comes out.
You'll be able to see Rudy Glenn had his man beaten right here, and Colin Todd is kicked from the side. And I give Todd credit. There's a veteran for you. He kicks him. He puts Rudy Glenn to the ground. Most players pick up their hands, admitting guilt immediately. Todd just kept playing as if he was innocent right there, but the linesman and the referee both saw the foul.
The score is Chicago 3, Vancouver 1, and we're going to be back after these words.
You think all a pickup's got to be is tough? Tough, sure, but tough's not enough. You need more of what makes a pickup a pickup. The power, the ride, the payload. You get the most of all that right here in a Chevy. The heaviest half-ton payload, the longest standard wheelbase, the biggest choice of power for your needs. Tough, sure, but tough's not enough. Chevy's got more of what makes a pickup a pickup. I know. Way to go. Way to go, Chevy. Way to go, Chevy.
Rudy Glenn is all right. Karl-Heinz Granita, he will take the free kick. Here he comes into the ball. There it is. And it hit the side of the net. The crowd behind thought that ball had gone in, but it hit the near side of the net. Granita didn't miss by much. But it's a 3-1 game. Sting leads it. Third and deciding game of the semifinal round. The Sting and Vancouver. And Vancouver playing a really hardy, very courageous game with two of their great forwards, Valentine and Ward, disabled for the action. But you got to give the Sting credit, too. Vancouver won the opening game here at Comiskey Park. 1-0. Chicago battled back to win up in Vancouver by a score of 3-1. And now we have the rubber match. Manny Rojas looks for an open man. Goes to Sanino. And now Jerry Gray on the near side. Up to Granita, posted very high. Trying to put Sanino through, but it doesn't work out quite well enough. Ball kicked away. Taken by Colin Todd. Clock running down to the 27-minute mark. That's all that remains in this ball game, unless Vancouver comes up with a big 2-goal rally. And now David Norman in the circle. Here comes the Caps. They've got O'Brien sneaking in from the near side. Cadelia's covering. O'Brien chipping it. Bridges, header miss. Davey Huson clears it. That was close, Kenny.
Perhaps Vancouver's best chance right there. Ian Bridge pushing forward.
Boy, that was close.
And you'll see Bridge push forward for quite a bit here in the second half. Actually playing as that second striker I was talking about that Hinton would eventually employ.
On the sound, you can probably hear Coach Willie Roy telling Manny Rojas to close up the middle some more. Caps on the attack again. Jerry Gray fighting, and this time it's Barhetic who clears it out of danger. Well, let's give Vancouver credit. They are really putting up a battle. 26-13. Assistant coach Mike Ribbett screaming at Manny Rojas. They want him to get involved in the center of the field. That's where Vancouver's coming from, right up the slot. Here comes Norman. Rojas covering. Trouble is, there may be somewhat of a language problem. Not only are they going across field into that wind with their voices, but I'm not sure Manny really knows what they're talking about. Knight is there pushing it out, but it's all Vancouver.
Well, they were using sign language down there. Mike Ribbich held up 5 fingers. Willie Roy held up 1. That meant number 6. In other words, you got to mark a little tighter on Norman.
Noguera delivers out to Manny Rojas on the far side. 25 and a half to go in the ball game. Sting leading 3-1. Jerry Gray asks for the ball, but he gives it instead to Glenn. He pushes it forward to Granita, drives it right back to Davey Huson. Sting building it up from the back, as they are so prone to do. European style. Hayden Knight. Now to Rojas. Leaves it for Pato. Rojas. Pato makes the run. Rojas going forward to Glenn. And the ball is kicked over the end line. Let's see if...
I believe it was off of Rudy Glenn last, and that is the proper call.
I think so, too.
It came down on Todd's foot as he tried to control it. Glenn got his foot in there.
I agree, Kenny. I think it was a good call. Now, Coach Willie Roy has Rojas on the near sideline, so he's able to give the instructions a little bit more clearly. Pierce O'Leary brings it out of the box to Todd and back to the goalkeeper, Bradshaw. Clock shows less than 25 minutes to go in the game.
And there you see, Howard, what I'm talking about. Rojas marking up tight on Norman. But that 2-goal lead, you want to make sure every man is marked. Your first job is to prevent Vancouver from scoring. If you get the opportunities to offensively push forward, then that'll happen too.
Gray delivers to Rojas. He's got some room to run. David Norman's on him now. Pato comes to help out. He gets it. He's one-on-one with Jeff Stock. Pato's crossing Gray to Cedinho. Back to Gray. Gray's coming. He lays it forward. Rudy Glenn out in front. Granita fires and scores. Granita fired. It hit a Vancouver defender who made a valiant attempt to stop it on the line. But Granita has scored. The Sting leads 4-1.
This is a beautiful, beautiful goal. Starting from the pass back at midfield, all the way to the final assist by Glenn and the shot by Granita, which was stopped right there by O'Leary. Yeah. Cedinho was in an offside position, but the
goal cannot be negated because he had no effect whatsoever on the play. When the goalkeeper, Bradshaw, came out, Sanino was on the other side of him with only the one defender right there. But the direct shot by Granitza, in Chicago now the 4-1 lead.
That was Karl-Heinz Granitza's third playoff goal, so he and Marhetic each have 3 goals for the Sting in this playoff series. Rudy Glenn getting a big assist.
Howard, there were a number of tremendous passes that led up to that goal. The build-up, tremendous. Jerry Gray won from the midfield as he found Rojas and Marhetic. And eventually the ball worked from Marhetic back to Gray again. And Chicago with the 3-against-2 numerical advantage, and they took advantage of it.
Great teamwork by the Sting in this game. Here comes Vancouver, a shot saved by Nogueira. Wilder hit a left-footer, and Nogueira saved it on the post. Over Granitza's head, ball is pumped back in by Todd. Rojas, who has done a sensational job, heads it to Sanino. All right, Sanino coming in on Jeff Stock with Rojas, the overlapping run. They go to Granitza, it's knocked away by O'Leary. But there is Sanino coming back to steal the ball. He's put down. Ron Tyson now for Vancouver. Sanino is still on the ground. Let's hope he's okay. Willie Roy may get him out of there. Starting to take a few pretty bad bumps. Norman trying to control, but Cadelia clears it to Marhetic. Marhetic to Granitza. Here they come, 4-on-2. Now Pato on the run. He's got O'Leary to beat. Pato brings it to Sanino. Sanino in the box. Granitza knocked away. A shot by Gray is deflected. Taken back by Rojas.
And you see the space open up in the back. It's a desperate situation for Vancouver. And a tailor-made situation for Chicago.
Symington fires and it's saved. A nice left-footed shot by Simonton, and Bradshaw makes the grab. 22:20 to go in the game. Sting leading 4-1.
Howard, we discussed in game number 1 the way Vancouver's defenders, when the goalkeeper comes out, they all go immediately to the line to try and save the ball.
Marhetic is inside. A shot over the bar. Bradshaw came out. Marhetic tried to chip it over his head and went over the bar.
But I started to say every time the keeper comes out, and the fans here in Chicago giving the Chicago Sting players a standing ovation. I'll get to that other point in a little while, but now an opportunity to look at the last goal. Look at the build-up from the midfield. Gray to Rojas, eventually to Marhetic. Gray makes a great run to the other side to create the numerical advantage there with Sanino. And here you see it, 3-against-2 situation. The ball eventually being worked as it should to the open man, and the proper man there, Karl-Heinz Granitza.
Vancouver has put in Ralph Mizuko, a youngster, an amateur. Boy, a lot of pressure on this kid, but he's getting a chance here in the big game. They go to Marhetic again. Marhetic comes forward to Granitza. Granitza has 4 players to beat, and they take the ball away. It wasn't Granitza's fault. He was just so surrounded he couldn't get a pass upfield. And now Vancouver puts it back in play. Granitza almost gets a piece of it. So Vancouver has substituted. They have put Mizuko in. We are looking now to see who came out. Pass upfield to David Norman. Elvis Comrie warming up for the Sting on the near side. I believe he'll come in for Sanino. Cadelia with it. Oh, Cadelia's pushed and hammered down. This youngster Mizuko, feeling his oats, just knocked down Victor Cadelia.
And finally, I'm going to try to get that point. In game 1, whenever the goalkeeper came out, it's typical of the Vancouver club. The defenders raced in immediately to try to clear the ball off the line. And I guess I'm not going to get this point in. There's a look at the foul. But the point I'm making...
Here comes Marhetic. Keeper's out. He is down on the ground, and the referee says play on.
Well, the ball was barely won there by the defender and knocked away. And the
Listen to the crowd. They wanted a penalty kick.
Referee properly not awarding the...
And now Mizuko has just hammered another player. This kid Mizuko is a chop
artist. I think that's David Cross right there.
Oh, yeah. You're right. I apologize, Mizuko, and your family, wherever they may be.
You could call him Ralph.
Ralph. All right. 4-1 Sting. Now Rudy Glenn on the near side. I'm looking for Ian Bridge. I don't see him. I think Bridge is out of there. I think Mizuko is coming for Bridge, and now Stock holds Sanino. And now the game is getting very physical. And Morrow,
Howard, you
at this point, has got to start blowing.
You got to wonder at this point in the match, so as things begin to get a little hopeless for Vancouver, whether or not they might try to do a favor for their cousins in Toronto as they build the playoffs. Canada against America. Toronto beating San Diego, and now Chicago on the verge of beating Vancouver.
There's Rudy Glenn inside, but Bradshaw grabs it.
To once again create the Canada versus America championship game. Or championship series, I should say.
Since this broadcast is going through Canada, it might be that our old friend and former Sting Bruce Wilson is watching. Bruce was quoted in the Vancouver papers is saying he wanted to play the Whitecaps because he thought Toronto could beat the Whitecaps. That was prior to the Sting victory in Vancouver.
Well, many of the Sting players and management getting a kick out of Bob Houghton's comments, though, is saying that he'd rather play against Vancouver because they are another serious-minded club.
Right. Well, as Cadelia drives the ball out, it'll be a throw-in for Vancouver. We're down almost to the 19-minute mark. I guess a lot of things are said, a lot of things are done, and, of course, everything is forgotten and forgiven after the series is over. Cross trying to get position on Knight, but right now the Chicago Sting, with their biggest goal output of the playoffs, 4 goals, lays it out in front. You've got Stock trying to walk in. He is inside! And Cadelia gets a piece of the cross, and it deflects over the end line. Corner kick for Vancouver.
Good effort there by Victor Cadelia. We talked about the offensive players doing a good job. Victor Cadelia very, very steady throughout the playoffs, and there was a case there where he recovered after going to the ground once to deflect that shot over the line.
Hayden Knight trying to use a little scissor kick, a shot, and a score by Vancouver. Jeff Stock. Stock got position out in front of the Chicago Sting goal and headed it past Victor Nogueira, so that equalizes the goal by Granitza. Sting now still leads by 2. It's 4-2 with 18:20 to go in the game.
Beautiful assist there by, I believe that was Cross, who beat Hayden Knight to the ball and made that beautiful over-the-shoulder kick there, put it on Stock's head. And there you see Nogueira beaten as that shot caroms off the near post.
And Jeff Stock, a young American from the Seattle-Tacoma era, has his first playoff goal this year. And Vancouver gets the ball back. And don't think these Whitecaps are out of it, as we said before. Very dangerous ball club. Symington trying to get by O'Brien, and O'Brien knocks the ball out. It was last touched by Symington, was it? Let's see how they're going to call it. Maybe a goal kick. Let's see how they're going to rule that. I believe O'Brien got it last. Yeah, it's going to be a goal kick. That ball went over the end line.
We have less than 18 minutes remaining in regulation time. You have that 3-goal lead. Everything seems easy. The 4-goal lead soon to come, and all of a sudden a goal scored, another goal by Vancouver, and you could have a nervous situation.
And we're going to have a foul as O'Leary comes down on the back of Karl-Heinz Granitza. Cross is protesting. A lot of protesting out there, but the foul's going to stand. Sting will be playing indoor this year. Follow the Chicago Sting on indoor. A lot of games coming up your way on Sports Vision. Sting will be at the stadium for 24 home games, opening up in St. Louis on November 2nd, the first home game against Kansas City. And our old friends Charlie Pikus and Gordon Hill, Tasso Katsukas, Tim Twallman. That'll be on Friday, the 16th of November. Sting ticket information and schedule information, 558-KICK, 558-KICK. Houston trying to cross it. Ball is hammered over the end line. Sting will have a corner kick. Less than 17 minutes to go, and the jolliness of the crowd has been somewhat subdued by that goal by Vancouver. It's 4-2. This is the first time Vancouver has scored more than 1 goal in the last 7 games. All right, there's the cross out in front of Glenn. Back to Marhetic. Pato making a break to the end line. The cross, and it's taken out of there by O'Brien. Hayden Knight. Knight fires over the bar. Goal kick Vancouver. Clock continuing to run.
Chicago's really got a very good game out of their midfield.
Yeah.
This evening, Howard. Do you expect Vancouver to control the midfield, playing with the 5 midfielders for much of the game? But Chicago's midfield done a very good job. Rudy Glenn defensively, and Jerry Gray on both sides of the field, as he has 2 assists. He assisted on Marhetic's 2nd goal in the 40th minute, and then Granitza's goal in the 66th minute. So Jerry Gray coming forward and helping offensively while playing a strong defensive game. And then Manny Rojas, who has been all over the field, supporting, opening himself up, contributing offensively, and just helping out wherever needed.
16.5 minutes to go. The play was held up when they got the ball back. As Franny O'Brien brings it in. Jerry Gray is on him. O'Brien has Stock overlapping. He's in the box. Here comes Franny. He goes to Stock. Danger here, danger. There's the cross. It's pushed back in front. And the ball hits the side of the net. It'll be a goal kick.
And there was a situation where I was certain Vancouver would finish off that opportunity, and it turned out to be 2 Vancouver players getting in each other's way that prevented them, and not a Sting defender.
So Victor Nogueira on your screen, driving the ball forward over Marhetic's head. But he needs to go for... Oh, Granitza is hammered down by O'Leary. Marhetic has it. Referee is allowing the advantage. Marhetic goes back to Granitza, and Carl put it too far in front of him. Knocked away, but Houston's there.
And O'Leary just took down Granitza, and that was a retaliation after Granitza's late tackle.
Granitza's down, and he's getting up, and he He's limping. Now they're sorting things out, and we're going to have to wait a few moments. Let's take a look at exactly what happened.
Granitza let the ball get too far out in front of him, and he will come in a little bit late on the Vancouver player, and I'm not quite certain as to who it was. Well, we're not going to see it.
4-2 Sting, and we're going to be back after these words. They gave Vancouver the ball on a foul call against Granitza, and a yellow card was awarded, but we can't be sure at this point who got it. Simonton heads out a Vancouver cross.
Well, one thing's for certain, the Vancouver player that retaliated should have been ejected because the referee saw that obviously intentional flagrant foul. Granitza did commit the first foul as he's trying to win the ball, came in late, and came on top of the Vancouver player's legs, but then I believe it was O'Leary retaliating against Granitza, and the referee did see it.
15 minutes to go in the game. Gray's cross hits O'Brien on the arm. They call a handball, and O'Brien says, hey, that ball played me. I didn't play it. But Mora is awarding the Sting the ball. He goes to Cadelia. Cadelia, native of Vancouver, family there. Played amateur ball as a forward. Granitza wins the ball. Here comes Carl on the triple team. He's put down by O'Brien. And now we're going to get
a red card against one of the Vancouver players for bumping into the referee.
I think so.
I think that's going to be Colin Todd.
Or Tyson.
We're going to have to wait to see for sure whether a red card's going to be given, but it's a terrible foul.
There's a yellow.
Terrible foul there on O'Brien's part.
Leonard Ducey, the Vancouver captain, protesting. Granitza's getting up
I thought we might see a red card, though, because Todd came in, immediately bumped the referee, and that is a no-no. Granitza fighting very hard with Todd right here. No foul called right there, as one could have been called against Granitza. O'Brien then pushed and kicked him, but there you see Todd bumping into the referee. And he did have a legitimate complaint because Granitza did foul him in winning the first ball.
Elvis Comrie has come into the game, replacing Sanino. Boy, what a great game Sanino's had. Sting with a direct free kick just inside the 35-yard line. Elvis Comrie, a real burner. He can fly, and he's fresh. 14:40 to go. Manny Rojas with the free kick. He drives it forward, and he misses by a country mile to the near post.
You never want to eject a player during an important game such as this unless you absolutely have to, but somehow I feel the referee, had he pulled out a red card earlier in this game, or one or two red cards, might have gotten a lot more respect and gotten this game under control.
Mazuko header grabbed by Noguera. Victor driving it with the wind. Granitza's up in the air. Ball headed away, but Jerry Gray is there. Johnny on the spot for the Sting. Goes to Comrie. Ball knocked away from him. Simonton pushed it forward. Comrie fighting for it. David Norman comes out. Simonton, the slide tackle, wins it back. The action is really very physical out there. We're going to have a foul against Vancouver. A lot of shots are being taken after the action has passed. Players are Willie Roy is screaming. Mike Ribbage, the assistant coach, screaming. Frank Crocker, security director.
It's automatic. Don't whistle, you cut.
Willie Roy yelling at Mora that he's got to get a couple of these Vancouver players out of the game because they are just taking out their frustration on the Chicago Sting players. Sting has a game Monday night here against Toronto. They sure want to go into that game healthy. There'll be little enough rest as it is. All right, Rojas coming forward. Ball headed away. Jerry Gray lets it for Glenn. Glenn forward, knocked away by O'Leary, and Knight comes on to Mizuko, knocks it away. But Vancouver maintains the advantage as Tyson brings it forward with 13 and a half minutes to go in the game. Tyson fires over the bar. Got a good hard shot, doesn't he, Kenny?
Tyson, a very strong player.
He made the first
tremendous
string
ability,
All-Star team.
Tremendous ability to dribble in either direction with either foot. And there's very little that man is lacking as a soccer player.
That's right. Elvis Comrie is fouled as Vancouver's Pierce O'Leary starting to get very physical.
They called, I believe, the original foul against O'Leary with Granitza.
And now Comrie. Comrie can do it from anywhere. There he goes to the end line. Double team, ball knocked off of his ankle over the end line.
Came off a Comrie last as he turned around. His own heel knocked it over.
Good call. Less than 13 minutes to go in the game. The final game of the semifinal round. Sting leading by a score of 4-2. 3 goals for Chicago in the first half, 1 for Vancouver, and they have traded goals here in this half. In the game, Marhetic has 2, Rojas and Granitza 1 for the Sting. And the Vancouver Whitecaps have scored goal number 3. Don't go away. The Caps are still in the game. It is now 4-3, and all of a sudden we have tension here in Chicago.
And it is Ralph Mazzucco, I believe, that scored the goal. Granitza will get an assist as he put the ball far downfield into the Chicago penalty area. None of the Sting players able to beat cross to the ball again. And there's Ralph Mazzucco, the amateur, sliding the ball into the back of the net.
There is tension at Comiskey Park as Vancouver, with 2 unanswered goals, has cut the Sting lead to 4-3, and we still have over 12 minutes to go in the game. Anything can happen. Vancouver Whitecaps have battled back. They were trailing 4-1 at one point in this half, and they have scored twice.
Well, you need your goalkeeper to stay alert at this point in the game. Victor Noguera should have been able to come out and either grab that original ball had he read it or stay on the line, but it was an easy goal for Mazzucco to tap in.
All right, Colin Todd with the ball back to Bradshaw. So a game the Sting was relaxing in with a 4-1 lead and looking very, very strong, and a sure bet to go to the finals against Toronto. The Sting now finds himself with only a 1-goal lead, and Vancouver doing a great job of pushing forward. Stock got it again, and there is danger every time. Stock gets around Comrie, goes inside, but Rojas cuts it off for Gray. Gray just clears it upfield. Granitza goes for the trap. Heads it forward. Rudy Glenn on a big run. Brian Tyson beats him to the ball. 11:16 to go in the game. David Norman to O'Brien. Bryan goes down. Let's see how they call it. Sting's ball. The Sting with a 1-goal lead. And the crowd no longer relaxed. Tension all over Comiskey Park.
You have to give Vancouver a tremendous amount of credit, though. The way they fought back in this game and come back to make it a 1-goal game. This is a team that had not scored more than a goal in their last 6 matches without their 2 best offensive weapons. And yet they've managed to put 3 up on the board this evening.
Comrie fighting for it. Marhetic gets it. Sato now has Granitza breaking on the near side. He goes to Comrie, but Comrie is ruled offside. Less than 11 minutes to go in the game. Goal kick Vancouver. They will drive it upfield. Bradshaw in the box. Looking forward to him to pick it up, push it out. 4-3. Sting leads it. And what was a romp for Chicago has become a nail-biter here. As Bradshaw drives it upfield. Beyond Houston, Mazzucco going for it. The rookie scoring for the Sting, but the ball goes over the sideline. Sting will have a throw-in. The throw-in to Cadelia. Pumps it forward, but it's intercepted by Vancouver. Comrie coming to try to steal it. Loose ball taken back by the Caps. Here they come again. This is Sean Lowther. Crossing. Danger! And Noguera is able to punch it away. And now Gray comes to Marhetic. 1-1 with Stock. To Comrie. Too far. Less than 10 minutes to go in the game as O'Leary delivers off on the far side. He's got Lowther.
Boy, you have to look at those opportunities Chicago had when they were ahead 4-1 to make it 5-1. 2 breakaways.
Yeah, they have a foul against Vancouver.
Which were squandered.
Yep.
It didn't seem very important then, but it certainly does right now.
9:26 to go in the ball game. Rojas into the ball. Sanino is out of there. He's resting. His place taken by Elvis Comrie. Vancouver is taking out Ian Bridge. Mazzucco. Now Comrie steals the ball. Comrie still on the attack. He is bumped off the ball, and there's no call. Fair charge. And a long drive upfield. Cadelia trying to cut it off. And he finds Victor Noguera. Immediate release to Manny Rojas. To Comrie again. He's bumped off the ball. Vancouver's coming. Comrie just not able to hold it here. There comes Lowther. There's another dangerous cross. Nogueira punches it out. Rojas tried to go forward, knocked away. Comrie gets it back to Glenn.
Very important, as we mentioned before, for Nogueira to stay active there and come out and box these crosses away as he did right there.
Here's Rudy Glenn bringing it in. Got Marhetic. Marhetic coming toward the top of the box. Marhetic is in the box. Marhetic still working. Marhetic, the left foot rejected. Comrie gets it back. Comrie chips it over the bar. Keeper was out. Comrie went over the bar. 8:20 to go. Goal kick, Vancouver.
That was a good effort on Elvis's part. He caught the keeper off the line, and he tried to go over the keeper. Chicago's going to make their second substitution right now.
Simonton's coming out. Bobby Meshbach, I believe, will go in. Chicago native, played at Gordon Tech, then went to Indiana University, played for Fort Lauderdale, and then Minnesota, came to this thing on a trade for Johnny McGrain.
Don't forget, tomorrow on Sports Vision.
Cold as ice, goes down so nice. Yes, it's love at night, and it tastes just right. Yes, it's perfectly clear. It's all you want in our beer. Tastes good and light, and it goes down so right, so nice, so right. Yes, it's love at night.
Ball is pushed right back to the midfield. They've got Tyson. Now Lauder. It's going to end up in the box. Bradshaw will go to get it. And he puts that big left foot into it again. Into the attack zone it goes. Gray heads it to Comrie. Back to Bobby Meshbach. Meshbach in a foot race. Here comes Bobby. Just came into the game. And he is obstructed.
He was fouled 3 times, and finally the referee made the call. He kept trying to allow for the advantage.
Free kick sting. Robert Meshbach.
You look at all 3 Vancouver goals, Howard, they've all been scored the same way. From right out in front, either finished off or set up by head balls won by their forwards.
There's the cross. It is headed over the line by Stock. The Sting will have a corner kick.
Stock playing it a little bit too safe right there. He was under no pressure.
Less than 7 minutes to go in the game. Sting leading 4-3. Manny Rojas with the corner kick. Clock stops at 46. Rojas short cross. Almost skipped by the Vancouver defense. O'Brien gets it. Lays it upfield looking for Mizuko. Rudy Glenn in the air. And he's going to get wrapped for a foul coming over the back of Mizuko. Gray puts it in play, but the referee says no. That foul goes the other way. I think Gray knew it. Playing smart soccer. 6:33 on the clock. Referee at stop time. Now O'Leary. You heard assistant coach Mike Rivers talking to Rojas. Rojas, play your man. That's David Norman. Stay with him. O'Leary going forward. That ball's going to end up in the box. Up in the air, Hayden Knight. Ball is pushed over the end line by Vancouver. The Sting with a goal kick. Less than 6.5 to go in the game. Tension at Comiskey Park. 2 goals by Vancouver has cut the Sting lead to 4-3. Victor Nogueira. Driving it forward. Looking for Comrie. Ball finally ends up with Granitza. Carl holding. Granitza holding in the midfield. Goes to Rojas. Rojas to Marhetic. He dummies it for Jerry Gray, trying to keep it in bounds. And Gray drives it over the end line. Just a little bit too far for Gray. It'll be another goal kick.
It would have been the right effort on Marhetic's part, leaving it for him. He had the ball played on the grass, but once it hit that dirt, of course, it picks up speed. Jerry could not catch up with it.
5:44 to go in the ball game. Bradshaw will get that left foot into it. Upfield it comes. Cross heads it back, but it's taken by Manny Rojas. Rojas slips and falls. Mizuko has it. Marhetic gets a foot in there, but it's taken back by Stock. To Mizuko, knocked away by Glenn. Good defensive play, and Pato has it. Here comes the Magic Man on the run. Pato's got room. Pato's coming, picked up by O'Leary. Pato goes forward to Granitza, knocked away. Vancouver trying to clear their zone, and they finally get it to Norman. Norman to Tyson. 5 minutes to go in the game. Upfield he goes. To David Cross. Knight going with Cross. Back he comes to Stock. Forward again. This is Cross to O'Brien, back to Stock. Stock working with Mizuko on the near side. He's got a man, Norman, inside! And Cadelia taps it over the end line. Dangerous corner kick coming up for Vancouver.
Of course, with Mark Simonson coming off and Meshbach coming on as a midfielder, that pushes Rudy Glenn into the back line where he is marking up on Mizuko.
Less than 4.5 to go. Franny O'Brien will take the cross. It's in the air. Glenn heads it away. It goes over the end line again, and they're giving it to the Sting. They're saying it was last touched by David Cross. Free kick, a goal kick for the Sting. 4-3 Chicago. Third and final game of the semifinal series. Nogueira, bad one, taken right back, but it's kicked away by Glenn. Nogueira's distribution very bad that time. And a steal by Meshbach. However, Vancouver has it. We have a foul on Meshbach. Less than 4 minutes to go. Vancouver player on the ground. Have to put the glasses down there. It was Tyson. Brings it to Todd. Todd's crossing again. David Cross doing a big job for Vancouver, putting it in the box. Glenn heads it away. Taken back by O'Brien. Pushes it to Lenarduzzi, not a Colin Todd. Back to Lenarduzzi. Lenarduzzi pass upfield. Glenn goes for it, knocks it to the near side. Marhetic tries to keep it in. Does a great job to send it back upfield. Comrie chasing. Comrie heads it over to the far side, but no, nobody could get there. Gunitsa made a good run, but couldn't get there. And now the ball is driven into the box. Headed forward. Nogueira grabs it. I thought Nogueira was going to freeze on the line, Kenny, but he came forward at the last.
Chicago is fortunate right there, as there was a 2-on-1 situation. Cadelia did a pretty good job of zoning it off. But there was a man open in front, had the header come square instead of forward.
Less than 3 minutes to go in the game now. Vancouver attacking. This is Lauder. Comes in on Cadelia. Crossing in front, knocked away, take him back, danger! Tyson is put down in the box. Referee says play on, and a save by Nogueira on the near post.
Big break for Chicago right there. Good save by Nogueira, but that was a 100% penalty as Tyson was taken down at the top of the box. That was Norman. Actually. And you see it right there.
Davey
Houston taking him down, but fortunately Nogueira staying in the game, coming up with the big save.
O'Brien now with the cross. There is tension at Comiskey Park. There's the cross. In the air they go. It's headed out. Taken right back over by Todd. He puts it back in. Vanessa goes for it. He lays it out to Cadelia.
They got Rojas open on the far side of the field.
And they go to him, and he's coming. Keeper comes out. Knocks the ball away. Bradshaw came all the way out.
What a break for Bradshaw. It was a great play on his part. As he knocked it away, he easily could have knocked it to a Sting player. Instead, it went to the Vancouver Whitecaps.
Less than 2 minutes. Another cross. And Nogueira punches it out. And we're going to get a foul called against Vancouver in the box. Nogueira with a free kick. Minute and 46 to go in the game.
Boy, oh boy, though, that was a tremendous play by Bradshaw. Reading the fact that Chicago had two players open on the far side of the field. Came forward, vacated his net, and beat Rojas to the ball, cleared it out of danger.
Minute and a half to go as Nogueira drives it upfield. O'Leary punches it right back to the Sting 35. Knight is pulled down by David Cross. Free kick Sting. Minute and 20 to go. Crowd counting off the seconds. Chicago leading 4-3 as Cadelia comes back to Nogueira. What an exciting game this turned out to be. Nogueira driving it forward again. It's away from Comrie. Lauder is there. Upfield he comes. Meshbach is going to run it down. Gives it to Cadelia. Less than a minute to go in the game. Cadelia to Comrie. Ball's over his head. Here comes Comrie. Comrie breaking into the box. Comrie looks. He gives to Gunitsa. A chip shot. Saved by Bradshaw. Carroll tried to just tip it over his head. And now the ball comes down on the other side of Lenarduzzi. 40 seconds left. Knight fighting Brett. Cross for it. Lenarduzzi gets it back. Vancouver with another rush. 32, 31, 30. Here they come with time. Sting defense backing up. Here comes the cross. Knocked away. And cleared high in the air by Cadelia. Ball is tapped by O'Brien. Pushed back to the midfield. They give it to Stock. Stock knocks off of Rojas. Here comes Stock. But an offside call. That goal will not count. The tying goal will not count. The linesman had his flag up all the way.
Lenarduzzi snuck into offside position. The flag went up immediately. He deflected it into the goal. And that was Vancouver's last hurrah. But what an exciting last minute there with Granitza, an opportunity to tie up the game.
He means to put us a 2-goal lead.
I'm sorry, Granitza, an opportunity to ice the game. And Vancouver, the opportunity to tie it up right there.
And Comrie is dumped with 5 seconds left. 4, 3. The referee has stopped time with 3. Sting is 3 seconds away from going to the Soccer Bowl finals against the Toronto Blizzard. That game will be played right here at Comiskey Park Monday night. Sting office number 558-KICK. Give them a buzz Saturday or Sunday. Order your tickets. Visa, MasterCard, American Express. Or come up to the office, 333 North Michigan. Barhetic just drives it out of bounds. He doesn't care. No time left. That's it. It's over. Alan Hinton is charging the referee. Hinton is all over Vince Morrow, screaming probably about that possible penalty kick call that wasn't called. But the Sting has defeated Vancouver by a score of 4-3 and goes to the Soccer Bowl best 2 out of 3. A lot of people on the field. Alan Hinton is still down there.
Alan Hinton,
Willie Roy is trying to help make peace out there.
Obviously very, very frustrated in this situation because of the fact that he feels his Vancouver club fought very, very hard to come away with the result, and that they certainly did, although the result was not the winning one, and certainly the referees had an effect on this game. Had the game gone in either direction, certainly Chicago
started well. Sylvain Turgeon with a great effort moving in on goal. He scores from his stomach. It's 1-0 Hartford. Rangers will tie the game on its easy. The Hartford Whalers certainly like that one, and why not? They're optimistic about this game. Rangers here, the puck goes back to the point to Ron Greshner. He'll lift the shot towards the goal. It deflects off the stick of Risto Filton. Greg Millen can't handle it. That makes it 1-1. Whalers make it 2-1. David A. Jensen muscles his way in front. It goes to Ron Francis. He beats Glenn Hanlon. It's 2-1. One thing the Rangers can do is pass. Watch this perfect feed. Anders Hedberg to Reijo Ruotsalainen. Watch Ruotsalainen make 3 great moves on the breakaway. He eventually scores. The first period ends tied at 2. Beautiful goal. Late in the third, Hartford led it 4-3, but the fine Ranger passing does it again. Hedberg to Sundstrom. That ties the game at 4, and that's the way it finished. Good game in New York. Let's move to the Saddledome in Calgary. Flames and Blues. Calgary fans seem to feel their team can take a run at the Oilers. The Flames finished last year well, and they started this one well. 27 seconds into the first, Kerry Wilson muscles his way in, backhands it in front to Richard Crom. He beats Rick Walmsley, the ex-Canadian. It's 1-0 Flames. But the Blues come back to tie it. 7.5 minutes gone. Lavallee to Sear. Watch the initial save, the save on the rebound by Rajon Lemelin, but he can't stop the third. The goal by Patrick, he ties it at 1. Blues take the lead at the 13:22 mark. Bernie Federico wins the faceoff back to Craig Levy. A good low shot. It's 2-1 after 1. What do you think of the new St. Louis Blues uniform? It looks nice with a nice button down underneath. Now let's go to the second period of play. 10 minutes gone. Blues captain Brian Sutter slides the puck back to Gilbert Delorme, then heads for the net, and it pays off. He tips Delorme shot past Lemelin. It's 3-1 Blues. They won it 4-2. Now to the form in Los Angeles. Kings versus the Edmonton Oilers. L.A. was down 1-0 at this point on a goal by Paul Coffey. Marcotti's slap shot when the point is deflected into the net by Dave Taylor. Kings with a more balanced attack now that the Triple Crown line has been split up. Phil Sykes scored in the second to put L.A. ahead 2-1. Here, Charlie Huddy's slap shot eludes Bob Janacek, and that ties the game at 2. In overtime, the Oilers had many opportunities. Watch as their best chance does not go in the goal. Watch Gary Galley attempt to clear the puck. He goes right to Kevin Lowe. Lowe will take a shot that everybody thinks beats the goaltender Janacek. Janacek and McClellan in front.